Фонотека Електрика.
Ето го и втория епизод от серията, посветена на Contemporary Cultural Conversations, или просто казано форумът на Ritual Gatherings, който се проведе в средата на ноември и представи данните от първото проучване на електронната сцена в страната. Моето име е Александър Владимиров и сега ще слушаме панел номер 2 от форума – перспективи и предизвикателства пред фестивалите за електронна музика в България. Участват Laylla Dane, Diass, Benjamin Sasse и Faris Abbas от Ritual Gatherings, който отново е тук при мен. Фарис, кажи здрасти.
Здрасти, скаше.
Окей, преди да пуснем в записа, искам двамата да коментираме един от резултатите в изследването. Това, че има немалко хора, които успяват да отидат на фестивал 6 пъти в годината. Или даже над 6 пъти в годината отиват на фестивали. Даже ще цитирам за слушателите пълните резултати. 67% от анкетираните ходят на между 1 и 3 фестивала, почти 9% ходят на между 4 и 6 фестивала, а 2,5%, което са дори в рамките на анкетата са си едни цели 70 човека, казват, че ходят на над 6 феста. То е ясно, че понякога лъжат хората, обаче според тебе тия хора, дет не лъжат, те откъде имат времето и парите за това?
Ами, не знам, преди всичко, big up people. Аз имам спомен единствено, може би, като бях първия път в Мексико и просто бях толкова жаден и гладен да видя всичко за мен там. Кажи речи, всеки ивент си е почти фестивал, въпреки че ако го погледнем през призмата на това да отидеш на 6, примерно, 3-дневни фестивала за годината, значи наистина, бро, ти си MVP. Сега вече за парите и времето, може би това е така по-ключовия въпрос, но явно хората си ги намират. В смисъл така, че, keep it up.
Да, факт. Респект за тези хора. Сега, аз не знам после как ходят на работа. Те трябва да вземат по една седмица почивка след това. Добре, да коментираме още един резултат. Повечето хора не искат да доплащат за йога и катерене на фестивали. Какво правим сега без йога и катерене на фестивали, брат? Как?
Ами, наблюдавайки резултатите, видяхме също така, че 50-50 е разделението в това, колко хората въобще са привлечени, т.е. колко хората са склонни да платят. 50% не са склонни да платят за допълнителни активности и пред другите са. Отделно, допълнителните активности се явяват в още един въпрос като най-малкият фактор за решението на един човек. В смисъл, това отново за мен просто доказва, че в фестивала най-важното е музиката. Лайнъпа, може би декора, местото, цялостното преживяване. Сега тези неща са част от него. За някои хора съм убеден, че в крайна сметка са фактор. Може би има хора, които са по-спиричуал, са и ход на тези фестивали, там някакво психотропно дишане, йога и така нататък са им важни. Може би има и батки, които тренират и е важно да има стена с катерене. Но да, смисъл явно има разделение, което интересно е, на нас като организатори не ни дава супер някаква стабилна основа за вземане на някакво значително решение, но да, това са претенциите на хората.
Окей, благодаря ти за тези коментари и сега е време да пуснем панел 2 с участниците. 2 подробности. Панелът е на английски език, за да може Бенджамин от фестивала Meadows in the Mountains да се включи в него, а като модератор няма да слушате мен, а звънкия глас на Влади Ванков. До следващия път, когато ще слушаме третия панел от форума и Фарис отново ще е при мен.
Фонотека Електрика.
I'm Vladi Vankov, and thank you for being here. Thank you to Ritual Gatherings for inviting me to host the festival panel. So first, let's start with presenting our dear panelists. Marta Dънева is right next to me. She's the dynamo behind the Up Stran-Jah festival. Benji Sasse, the man responsible for Meadows in the Mountains festival and also famous for replacing London for Полковник Серафимово. We have Пламен Василев, also known as DJ Diass from Flamboyant Gipsyland. And last but not least, Faris Abbas, the multi-tool from Ritual Gatherings Festival. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna start with probably the question which was the first one in the previous panel. What do you think is the most interesting find for you from the survey? Marta, we can start with you.
Perfect. Hi everyone, so happy to see so many of you here, to see so many people interested in the topics we're discussing. Big ups to the RG guys for making this happen. And now straight to the question, because I had some preliminary access to this research, to the results, for which I thank you deeply. And most of the results were not so much of a surprise for me, which was great to know that what I like, the grasp of the audience that I have in me is the same in reality. But if I have to choose one question, it's 23, question 23, which was relating to how different factors are affecting your choice to your decision making into visiting a certain festival. And the first one was the music, and the least important factor was the additional activities. Yeah, which I think this is a sign of still a relatively young scene where people are still only focused on one big factor, but this is also a sign of like a big perspective of how festivals can develop from now on.
Okay, Benji, did you manage to see the survey? Yeah.
Yeah, Alex did a bit of translating for me. Yeah, still kind of learning how to read Bulgarian.
Next year.
Yeah, next year I want to come back here and speak fluent Bulgarian, hopefully.
Writing down.
Yeah, I think we're living in a world where marketing and promoting events is becoming very kind of false in a way that it's very hard to build a community via word of mouth. But from what I understand, the survey is showing that that's a very big movement here in Bulgaria, and a lot of the parties, that's how they get marketed, is through word of mouth. So friends telling friends.
Is it the same with Meadows in the Mountains? Does the machine work like this for you as well?
That's how it started. I feel like now it's changing, and yeah, we're going through a process of changing our marketing strategy. But everybody we've spoken to this year is saying how you get zero reach from, you can't really access your followers unless you pay for it nowadays. So yeah, we're trying to come up with different plans on how we reach our community. If the Facebook and Instagram algorithms don't access, then yeah, maybe we will have to find a new solution.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, my surprise, not surprise, but I thought about it, but it came true that a lot of people get informed for festivals, events through their friends, not that social media is so actively involved in this. And it's really interesting. So the whole experience of the club event or a festival really has its lead after, and people start talking and they get involved, new people. So this was interesting to see in the survey.
I'm generally surprised there's people that go to more than 6 festivals a year. No, I'm kidding. I mean, there's some that are still probably young and have more time possibly and means to do this. I would say not being very surprised, but there's obviously an identifiable trend that people are visiting festivals more, and in general, big productions, as Josip said in the previous panel, just preferring this instead of clubbing. I think this is something that local festival promoters can use, and looking at the data for the audience here, basically better gauge their decisions on what to put in the festival, what not, how to spice it up, and how to target the proper audience. I think the question relating to where people get informed, I think Bulgaria more or less has worked in this way, because we're obviously not a very big country. we don't have that big an audience. We all more or less know each other through maybe maximum of like 1-2 people. Like if you look at Facebook, probably those I don't know have seen me somewhere around there. But yeah, the word of mouth is very strong. And as early, I think we should be thinking of mechanisms which are basically experiential, as Vicky said, emotional, like things that would leave people with a certain emotion that they would like to share. Because this is how I got to know actually about Meadows. Like I unfortunately still haven't managed to go. I plan to do next year. But yeah, like I just heard so much at one point and like, okay, there's gotta be something really good about that. So yeah, that's a thing to think about.
Yeah, thank you guys. So now let's jump directly to real life. Which are your top 3 major obstacles doing a festival in Bulgaria?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I actually spent some time to prepare for this question because I wanted to give specific, more practical examples. The first one I have here is the lack of culture in Bulgaria of purchasing tickets in advance. This is a really, really big problem for promoters and festivals alike. People they're like, well, let's see how I feel in August. Even though, like, honestly, we managed we managed over the years, probably through gaining more trust in our followers, in our brand, to increase the number of tickets bought in advance, but it's still not enough. So yeah, this is one of the obstacles. The other one I would say, and I think it relates to any kind of annual event, is that it's organized on an annual basis. So once it's done, you have to wait until the next year to implement all the improvements that you came up after analysis, as long as you don't forget them until next year.
But this gives you a lot of...
Also, yeah, this is also, it's on both sides, plus and minus. And the third one I want to mention here is that it is still difficult to attract sponsorship for underground events. Even an event of 1,000 people, which I'm very proud of achieving. Like, this is a huge accomplishment for us. Up Stran-Jah is a festival which focuses on boutique electronic sound. Yeah. And it's great to see that, 1,000 people was not even imaginable 5 years ago for this kind of music. Now it is happening, but it's still not enough for sponsors. And like what Vicky reminded us from yesterday's panel, when the marketing ladies were talking about, when you present your idea, we need to know you believe in it. I mean, I think I believe too much, and I overdo it every time. They're like, oh, they don't need our help. They have the power. Yeah.
Benji, what do you think? 3 major obstacles?
Well, yeah, we've been going for 12 years now, and we're still losing money, which is a difficult thing to handle. There's only so much love you can give a project before you need to get paid for what you do. So I think making our project financially stable is one of the hardest things. And coming out of COVID and now potentially going into another recession, it's scary times for festivals and music and events.
Mm-hmm. You have a special opinion about sponsorship, right? You don't have any sponsorship on Meadows?
Yeah, we don't have any sponsors. It wasn't really part of our ethics or what we believed in, but I think there is a clever way to get sponsors involved, like especially if you're working with not the Heinekens or the Coca-Colas, but, companies that are doing good things for the planet, organic companies, bio companies, companies that really care about the impact they have and promoting products in a way that they're circular, not single-use, fast fashion, that kind of stuff. So, shall I go on to the other 2 or 3? I'll let you lead the conversation.
No, just are you okay? You finished? Yeah. So.
Oh, but round 2. There's 3 challenges, right?
Sorry.
So yeah, the financial side was one. I think for Meadows anyway, being in the Rhodope Mountains, logistics is always a very hard thing. Getting people there. There's no motorways. There's no airport. It's a little country winding road, and the village is very small. So trying to fit 5,000 people in a little village that was only designed for 1,000 is a challenge. And then I'd say the third obstacle is just integrating with the local culture and showing the community respect. You know, the rural people in Bulgaria aren't used to scantily clad, half-naked people off their heads, you know, raving in a field. So just trying to manage that respect for the local community. And
the cultural gap.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Round three? Our main obstacle maybe has been, as Laylla said, the lack of tendency to buy pre-sale tickets, because we are still like a young concept, a young festival.
How many editions do you have actually?
This year was the 5th edition.
Okay.
It started like 5 years ago as a friends gathering with 40 people. Now we are, like she said, a boutique festival for 1,000 plus people. But each year we are trying to grow as a territory, as an experience. This year we did 2 stages. We did the festival for 4 days. Before that it was only 3 days. I just tried to see if this is something we can work on and go in this direction. It was a big experiment. And for example, the second stage during the Friday and Saturday was half empty most of the time. People were only stick to the main stage. So this was not, we were not ready to do a second stage. So it was an experiment. But when you have a good amount of pre-sale tickets, you can actually see in which direction you can go with the production, because a festival costs a lot of things, like to rent the sound, to organize the staff that is going to work, to do a decoration, to bring more performances, experiences, like activities that they were talking about in the previous panel. So I think with time, when you build trust with people, when you build a nice group of followers, this tendency is going to grow and they will buy more and more tickets. I see this in our concept with each year. More and more people are starting to buy tickets before.
I just want to comment on the thing that was mentioned most, and it's pre-sale. And it's probably a challenge for all of us, but I think it's really based on like cultural heritage in Bulgaria, and the thing that, yeah, let's see how I feel in August. In general, people don't make plans that early. Decisions are made very last moment, which makes it super hard for the industry to be able to make, you know, their profit and loss, and to have an expectation of what they're doing. That's part of basically what also happened to us in our last edition. So jumping to the question, I'm going to say the top 3 challenges for us are location, people, and finance. And I'm going to go deep.
Okay.
Maybe not all of you know, but now you will. We base our concept on 5 main pillars, which are nature, music, art, food, and rituals. And we try to put a lot of things related to each one of those pillars within our festival. And we are really strict with the idea that it is held at the beach. And that makes it very, very hard. So we had our first and second edition in Bulgaria, 2017-18 in Botanic. That was the time of Valery Semyonov. We had huge problems. We had to go away from there. 2019, 2020 COVID, we really didn't have an edition. We had illegal party for like 400 people, which was amazing, on a wild beach. Oh well.
They always are.
Huh?
They always are.
Yeah. And what we did actually during this kind of vacuum time is we started looking through, project calls for financing, because I'm happy to say that I have a super good and diverse team of people which we each complement each other with like various strengths. Of course, we have our weaknesses, but we try to do our best. And we managed to secure a funding which basically led to the 2022 edition, which we managed to do in Kamcha Beach. Mm-hmm. And it was a big step for us, to be honest. So from then on, like taking this big leap with a new location comes the uncertainty for attracting like a local audience. Is there an audience enough around Varna? How engaged would it be with an event? You know, this is all like a lot of risks and coming out of the COVID vacuum. So we didn't really know, like we couldn't be sure. And this coupled with the fact that you're now doing something on a totally different scale. Basically the whole territory that we did the festival for us, for the team that we have, was pretty big. So for us it was an issue being able to find personnel, like people to work, let's say the ticket offices and everything. So we worked as well with
You're going to my next question.
okay, I'm not gonna jump forward that much, but yeah, and this all leads basically to the challenge of being able to control your finance, to make a good budget forecast, and just not deal with too much uncertainty.
Actually, let's even continue towards the next question. How hard in Bulgaria is to find proper personnel, and how big is the role of volunteers in your festival?
I'm gonna give possibly a shorter answer because this is the first time that we really hit the challenge. Historically, we made events that are smaller and we could cope with it with ourselves. Like we didn't have an organization that, I mean, we have people that we know that are good in a certain area that we can outsource to, but it's good to have a team like, I imagine from the bigger promoters, they have like people that work with them for like 10, 20 years. You decide to do a festival, boom, they come with you. And it's like, you find this guy, okay, you can help me. And then he comes out and comes there and then he's not that engaged. Like, he's like, hey, I'm on a festival, but not really like, you're engaged for work. And, dobrovolci, sorry.
Volunteers?
With volunteers. Yeah, with volunteers, I think we had I'm thankful I see some of our volunteers here from this year's edition. I want to thank them again. I think it's crucial,
right?
Crucial, but maybe the other guys will tell some more.
Okay, thank you.
We are struggling with personnel, for sure. We are in the middle of the mountain and we are building everything from scratch for each edition of the festival. But since the beginning, I started gathering a group of volunteers. They come a week before and we build up everything together. And without them, we're like doomed. They're really helpful and I'm very grateful. And we're keeping them each year and they're coming back because they like the whole experience of creating the magic of the festival from scratch. And after this, during the festival, they're still involved and helping with a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
Do you rely on local people as well?
Local people, they work like a personnel on the bars, in the kitchen, on the cleaning facilities. So we also work with a lot of local people from the villages, and they are involved in the festival for sure.
That's nice. Benji, you probably have say a lot. Especially about volunteers. I mean, not only.
We have a little bit of a different approach to obviously some of the more authentic Bulgarian festivals, like with these guys here. So our kind of workforce was more international from the beginning. So we had lots of UK staff, German staff, just more Europeans coming, and a smaller contingency of Bulgarians. But the more we integrate with the Bulgarian community, the more we see that there's so many cool, young, talented Bulgarians that we really love to platform and give them a chance, So that's really where we're moving towards now.
What do you think, because Far mentioned it, where is the thin border between being a volunteer, being at work, and being at the festival? Is it problematic?
Yeah, I think it's always a thing with volunteers that they think because they're not getting paid that that they don't have to take it seriously. But that's where you find the good volunteers that keep coming back time and time again, and the ones that aren't very good don't get invited to come back. And I think it's important to make sure that the message is clear, the expectations are clear, and to make sure you put volunteers in the place that they want to be. If a volunteer is working in an area that they're not passionate about, then they're not going to have a good time. But if you find the right place for them to go, generally it's, they have a good experience. But and just to follow on from what Faris said was, I think volunteers make a crucial part of a festival because when your community feels like you collectively built the festival together, that's what creates the magic.
Super. Marta?
Well, Wake Up Stran-Jah has absolutely no problems with volunteers because we have no volunteers.
Okay.
Which is not a good thing. I often receive comments like, "Oh, Marta, you stress too much. You take care of so much shizzle. You have to delegate. You have to delegate more." And I'm like, "Okay, do you want to do something for the festival?" "Oh no, I just want to have fun," right? So, in the end, and I don't blame the people if it's like a highlight for them of the electronic calendar of the year. They really want to get their faces off. I don't mind them doing this at the festival, but yeah, I think the electronic scene, underground scene in Bulgaria really struggles with the volunteer culture in general. We just don't have that yet. I mean, I saw it when I moved to Berlin the first years. I was super shocked to see how many people are involved in the industry, in event management. I mean, they are obviously also, they also know how to have fun, but while they are on their shift, they are doing their job, right? And once it's 1 minute past their shift, they are in the front line dancing. Well, we don't have this discipline yet. I mean, probably one day it will come.
Hopefully. So I will hop to the next one. Probably you can start again, Marta. What is the biggest compromise you have made for the future of the festival, and in which aspect of the organization?
Financial. That's an easy answer. Yeah. I mean, we always try not to demonstrate how difficult it is financially. But Wake Up Stran-Jah is also not funded by. There is no external funding whatsoever. It's held just from our own pocket, and there have been years which were excruciating in a financial aspect, but still, we have examples of other festivals in Bulgaria which jumped a year, decided not to do it because they didn't have enough money and so on. With Wake Up Stran-Jah, this was never the case. So the organizers are paying so that the tradition continues. I would say this. And maybe from a more personal perspective, it's a sacrifice of time.
Sleep.
What? Basically this is it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Benji?
Yeah,
Compromises.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I think the biggest compromise for us has been financial, just personal sacrifice, doing it for the love, not getting paid, and in some cases putting our own personal money in to keep things going. Now we're in a situation where we have a negative bank balance, and it's quite a scary amount of money. So yeah, just living in fear a little bit. I mean, for the last 10 years, we never knew that we would get to this stage. It was always this spontaneous thing that just kept growing. And every year we were thankful to have survived it. So yeah, financial, definitely the biggest compromise.
Yeah, I can agree. It's the same, I think, with everybody. Even though till this year, we were working only with Bulgarian DJs who are playing the kind of music that Gipsyland is trying to put out there. This year was the first year that we had an international guest, actually. And I could do this because we were growing and we were selling more tickets. And in order to get bigger, I thought about having an international guest. So I brought Derun from Turkey. They're not extremely big, but in our scene and our music, they're very well recognizable artists. But before that, we were making compromises mostly in financial way and not having everything that we want to have in the production in order to just make it happen and have the festival. Even though when COVID started, each summer when the measures were taken
Lowered.
off, we did the festival. We didn't jump. We risked and we did it. And I think this also helped us be out there on the market and people recognize us because I think 2 years ago there were almost no festivals and we were one of the fewest that happened and all the people just came because they wanted to have fun. So yeah, you always make compromise. You cannot like have it all. I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna agree with that. Like, there's always compromises in different areas. I would also agree with the personal one that you sacrifice money, you sacrifice time. Like, I could be in the studio or in the mountain or whatever, but at the end we all do this because we fucking love it and because we believe in it and because we wanna do and bring out something that's better, newer, more interesting, and just better ourselves constantly. I would say we probably have an interesting case because this is again internal, but like our team being various people, we have various preferences and various driving forces in life. So we've kind of each had to make compromises with, where the festival is going. Maybe I wanted it to be more boutique electronic music, or whether we want to, bring a super popular TV chef or whatever, but it's in the end, there's always compromise. And, but you try to balance things out. And I just want to point something out because I cannot say for the first or whatever, but being financed does not mean that, you're automatically on a profit or that you're doing well and you can do whatever you want. For all of those of you that don't know or you want to go down this road, it's a huge administration task. There's always a huge risk that your reports get declined and you don't get the money and you need to invest it, which means basically, let's say you get 100K and if you don't manage the project well, you need to give back 100K. So actually, it's also a huge risk. But yeah, we've made certain decisions that have been a compromise in some areas, but I'm generally happy with where we are.
Nice. Thank you for explaining this one because
I think we discouraged all potential new festival organizers.
investors, right?
It was a very good strategy from all of us. Well done.
Thank you, guys. So I'm gonna continue with the tricky one. Marta, how hard it is to incorporate more than one music style in the festival program? I know you did it this year, right? And is this important when forming your festival society?
I would say it is very hard. It's not necessary. I mean, it depends. You have to ask yourself the question, do I really need it? Is it going to bring additional value to the festival? Last year we had a small patch of hip-hop artists, which to me, I mean, it was my personal whim, let's be honest. I was sure that the hip-hop people, I was hoping it's going to bring some hip-hop people and we'll be able to introduce them to our main sound. That didn't happen so much. And on the other side, some people complained that what is this hip hop performance doing here on an electronic festival? Of course, my answer is man, it's a 70-hour festival. You cannot stand go to sleep for these 2 hours if you don't like it. Find something else to do. Talk to your friends. Usually 2 hours go like this at festivals. But as Steven was saying in the previous panel, it's either silence or complaints. But yeah, another thing I wanted to mention here is that it could be really tricky introducing another a genre in the festival. I mean, it depends on the concept. Like for Meadows, it makes sense, I guess, because it's a larger scale. For us, it doesn't so much, but in general, I think the tricky part is mixing the two type of or the several type of crowds, because in a small, intimate, 1,000 people festival like ours, which aims at providing an intimate environment where people can really have the sense of escapism, of reality. And they feel safe, surrounded by all the like-minded people. If you have, let's say, 200 people, hip hoppers, doing, say, yo, what's up, yo? Then maybe you risk to destroy this feeling of intimacy. Yeah.
Benji, you have a lot of diversity musically.
Yeah, still there's people that always moan, you know. It's very hard to make everybody happy, and the beautiful thing about humanity is as individuals we're all completely unique and different. So trying to make everybody happy means you have to be very diverse. We're on that journey to diversity, but it's hard. And we're learning with time that we need to give our bookers a really solid brief. And in that brief, diversity is the biggest, boldest word. And yeah, I know we're talking about electronic music today, but in terms of live, obviously bands are a lot more expensive than DJs. So we started as an electronic music festival, and we're now growing to accommodate more live bands. But yeah, it's difficult. But I think it is possible, and it's all about making sure your bookers know what the strategy is, and you know, making sure diversity is at the top of the brief.
For me, from my perspective, I think it's very important to know your audience and to be aware how did you started the concept and what kind of audience did you brought on the first place, and they started to grow. Because, for example, Gipsyland, I've been trying during the years to add more variety and styles of music, but at the end, I see that people are just enjoying electronic, melodic party music, and they want to have fun. I've been trying to add live bands during the day with more down-tempo, ambient, or folkish, indie kind of style. They like them, but it's not like, wow, we want to listen to them again. The feedback, it's not what I would want to be. So, yeah, you just need to know your audience, and it's a tricky question, yeah. Because every festival wants to grow and to have a variety of styles. So at some point, if you're big enough, you can, I think, add more styles and have something for everybody's taste.
Yeah, I think this year we had some diversity in our lineup. We had a live band. We had also some audiovisual installations and whatnot. I think it's generally hard. Obviously, it's super important to know your audience. I think it's actually most important to know what you want to push to your audience, and it's definitely our mission and vision to bring new things, new stuff to people. That means that they might not always, sell out your event in the beginning, but I believe in the thing that vision in the long term, if you stick to it, if you really push it, like it's going to happen. Electronic music festivals in Bulgaria obviously attract, we saw from the survey, like a very specific audience that prefers a very specific, music language. And but I think there is room there because Bulgarian people, I believe, are open, and there is a lot to happen. And I think especially there is now a huge variety of a young generation of Bulgarian artists that combine electronic, with other styles, like fusions with jazz, with hip hop, with whatever. So I would ideally see more diversity on our festival and hopefully others as well. But it is a tricky thing.
Okay, do we have some more time? 5 minutes? Somebody? No? Okay. I don't want to end it with bad feelings, but probably the last question from me. It will be hard to answer, but how do you work with local municipalities and government in general? That's right. No bad feelings. Sorry.
I really think we should finish with a different question because there is nothing to say here. We don't get any support. We don't have any interaction. Like there is no story to tell you, really.
Do you think that there's an institution that can push the things further and help in a way in the conversation between festival organizers and local authorities?
There probably some phantom institution which I don't know about.
I have to find it, right? Yeah. Okay. Benji, do you work with local institutions?
No, but I have hope that it will change.
Okay.
I just came back from AD Festival in Amsterdam, and so many ministers, the environmental ministers from Italy, Holland, Germany. I've never been in a room with so many politicians in my life. And yeah, maybe we should invite one to the panel next year.
That's great.
Because I think it's clear to see that festivals inject a lot into the economy, into the community, into the culture. So I think the data is there. We just need to have that conversation. And yeah, I'd like to think that the municipalities have money to help us, especially with the money coming from the EU. But at the moment, zero help. Like we manage all of our waste ourselves. We recycle, we segregate, we take the waste to the waste plant. So yeah, we're completely doing everything on our own.
It's not even only money, logistics, like simple stuff that can be really useful for you. Pламен?
Till now, we were not getting any support from the local government, but this year we started the conversation.
Made the first step.
And we get an ambulance from them. They send us an ambulance with a person responsible for it. We also get 2 volunteers from their own program for volunteers, 2 Turkish guys who they sent to us for free, and they were working during the festival. So it's a good start.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least it's something.
Yeah, it seems to be like going in the direction through the panel. We are actually working extensively with municipalities. This is obviously the result of getting a financing which goes and is operated through the Ministry of Culture. And you need to absolutely work with the Ministry of Culture, with the local municipality, with the Ministry of Interior, with the firefighters, with everyone. And like, for instance, the municipality has been extremely supportive. Those people love us, really, hands down.
Which one? Let's make them famous.
Municipality of Avren, yes.
Okay,
Cheers to
Avren.
if you're looking, Avren, thank you. Probably not. But yeah, all of the rest, it's a huge pain in the ass. We all know how the government is in Bulgaria. Kudos to that idea. We should definitely, first of all, make the panel next year, I think. Anybody? Well, yeah,
for sure.
should we? Okay. And then invite someone really from the Ministry of Culture or whatever to see how we can really support this. I would give a little addition to my sister.
Yeah, sorry. As the lucky one in our team who actually gets to deal with all the institutions, it is a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm going to stand for a second, feel important. It's super difficult, but I do think it's the road ahead because it has a lot to do with branding Bulgaria as a festival destination. It has a lot to do with cultural tourism. And just if you are in sales, you know that it's very important. You always need to find the decision maker, who's actually making the call at the end of the day, and the person who likes you. Or who's really clicking with you. And like this, we actually managed to open a lot of doors. And I think that's kind of the road ahead for all of us. And to add something to what Faris says, yes, we did have to deal with institutions a lot because of the financing, but also because of how we are located in Bulgaria. Every beach is exclusively owned and operated by the Ministry of Tourism, and then you inevitably have to involve another 4 institutions. So super difficult, or mobsters, but okay.
Yeah, just to add to this, I cannot tell you the amount of meetings that I've had with mobster guys being high, drunk on the meeting, or just generally. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's continue with something more valuable. But yeah, I think it's important to involve these people.
Thank you very much, guys. Now we have, I think, 5 or 10 minutes for Q&A. Somebody? Some questions? Yep.
Interested in you.
It's recorded.
Just interested in you and your sister's involvement with the Bulgarian government. So is there ever a worry or has there been an inference where there's potential for the government to sway the way in which the festival is perceived, or they want to be involved in the cultural programming or something like that?
I would say that they don't really have this this idea or this understanding. Like you can imagine, they are very they have a very, I don't want to really say that, but like a lower level of understanding of what it is. Like they don't really imagine. So we possibly in certain areas and issues, we sway their understanding, and we try to, make them understand what we're doing, how it's good for the community, local business people, and that we're actually, not doing something to trash around and make things worse, but actually trying to build something better. So, yeah, I would say no, is the short answer.
Some more questions? Yep.
With this, I don't want to discourage you, but I had the chance to have my studio next to the Ministry of Culture. And I spent not few, but many nights near that. And I've seen 2 or 3 parties in the ministry, all pop folk parties. So,
that's for sure.
If you need to find collaboration with the ministry, maybe put some own people there. This is kind of development that I would expect.
The thing is that if you want to make something memorable or not memorable, I don't know how to say it, you need more than one ministry involved, right, guys? There's tourism, there's local authorities, there's a big spectrum of authorities that has to be involved. So this is the main problem for me. We need a lot more focus on festival culture in Bulgaria. And I'm not quite sure who this phantom representative will be, because they have to be at least 5 or 4 here.
My advice is yes, just put the right people there and work with them. Don't look for them there.
My question is for Benjamin. As someone performing at Meadows in the Mountains since the very beginning, I've noticed this year there were substantially more Bulgarians visiting the festival. Can you mention some key differences about dealing with Bulgarians, apart from maybe selling more rakia?
Well, I think the beautiful thing about the Bulgarian underground community is it's quite small here. So I feel like we've had that same crew coming, like you, Bosha, Layla, since the beginning. And for us, it's about making it more accessible, because obviously, we sell our tickets half price, and English price tickets or the European price tickets are very expensive. So I think, just increasing that allocation of tickets and making it more accessible, that I would say that is the main reason why we're seeing increasing numbers of Bulgarians there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, because when you do the festival, you gain a lot of traction, right? But what do you do to keep your audience engaged during the year, before the next one happens?
Good question. In my personal practice, I don't like to be, as a representative of the festival, don't like to be all over the place in November when the festival is just only happening the August next year. But you have to remind people from time to time that this event is still going to happen, so that they don't forget about you in this saturated market. And let's say posting recordings like recorded sets from previous years is a good way to keep them engaged. A nice picture from time to time, and just giving them a small glimpse of what they can expect next year. And this is all until the aggressive marketing campaign starts.
I can say that it's also a good thing if you have a community of people who are following your brand, your festival, to do like small gatherings during the year in a club or in a location, just to keep the vibe. That's what I'm thinking about right now with Los Gipsyland, because we have a lot of people asking and they don't want to wait till next August, So that's a thing you can also do. Yeah.
I think it's a balance, as Marta said. You don't want to be all over the place. You want to maintain some presence. You want to maintain sending out some information, giving these people the value. We are looking to build a strong community that would live and even help each other, possibly with many different things, like even outside of the festival. I've seen that with, I don't know if any one of you has heard of Gardens of Babylon in the Netherlands. They have a very strong community. Those people find each other apartments all over the world, help with marriages, with whatnot, because I'm in the community. So I think this is an extremely valuable thing, which is built through being loyal to your audience, not making obviously very swift changes to the left and right, and just keeping it. That is the game, and it is the question, being able to do this well.
Thank you very much, guys, and let's hope that there are some more. Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to give huge kudos to all of you guys, because what you are doing and sacrificing for the benefit of all of us is amazing. So, give them a hand. Now on to the questions. So, 3/4 of you on this panel are mostly focusing on building boutique festivals for the enjoyment of the Bulgarian crowd, which is great, building a community. Benji, I think you're mostly focusing on bringing crowd from the UK, from other countries. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts, all of you. How do we actually move on to the next phase of Bulgaria becoming a more international destination for such types of events? Because as much as I love the community feel for some of the things you guys are doing, I think there's a natural progression without which some of these festivals, maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, are not going to develop into something bigger. And I want to see it grow, and I want to see it become a bigger thing. And I think the next step is becoming an international destination. So I'm curious to hear, first of all, how did you approach it to be able to bring all these people from the UK to a place in the middle of the mountains, no logistics, nothing? How did that work out for you? And then I want to hear from the other guys, how do you actually see it progressing for you and building it into the future?
Yeah, well, first of all, Meadows was never really planned to be a festival. It was all of these other guys here, it was a spontaneous gathering of friends that then picked up traction, and we realized that we had something really beautiful that we wanted to share with the world. And although in the beginning it was difficult for us to bring that community from the rest of Europe, it was difficult, but word of mouth was what carried us through. And I think Bulgaria has a really bright future for festivals. It is this hidden gem of Europe that many people don't know about. It's off the beaten track. It's just magic. So I think more things like this, more collective working together. I'm sure Meadows would love to help everyone here bring more of an international crowd and share how we did it. But I think that also leads to the diversity. I think booking more international acts, bringing crews from different cities around the world that bring their crews, I think that's a really beautiful, organic way to make it work.
Did you want to say something, Amalia?
I'm gonna wait.
All right. So we at Up Stran-Jah never had a specific strategy of how to attract international audience, but nevertheless, it is happening. It is happening. I was so pleasantly surprised to see this year between like 20 and 25% of the pre-sale tickets were bought by international people, visitors, which is, you know, for a festival which has no budget for international marketing, this is like, how is this happening? I guess the word of mouth plays a huge role here. And yeah, friends coming in a group of 4 and bringing 10 more friends next year, especially with the French people. We had a French Revolution at at Up Stran-Jah. I think we had 40 or 50 people from France. It was it was extraordinary. Also people from Tunisia, Canada, USA. I mean, imagine someone coming from New York to Varna, going down the road to Varvara. I mean, it was we received great feedback from these 2 guys from the USA that they had no problem reaching the festival. And I was like, okay. So we did some good job in communicating how it is happening. Yeah. And another thing I want to add is that I think people, especially people who practice party tourism in Europe, they are curious about under the radar, like off-kilter festivals and experiences. So sometimes it is actually better not to promote yourself too much as to not attract like random people, but really get the audience which digs and puts some effort into finding your festival. We are experiencing that and super grateful for it.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. It's a natural process. If the festival is good, sooner or later people will start wanting to visit it. This year we had people from Iran, from Israel, from Italy. So yeah, the concept, when it's working, it's starting to attract people at some point. That's what I think.
I think we also managed to add some foreign audience this year, for which, of course, we're also very grateful. I think I would add to your question, which is what we discussed with Steven. I would say it's a combination of, first of all, educating the younger people that are here, because I think there's a lot of potential there, but we're probably not working enough or working well enough to do that. And he has something to say. And and then on the topic of importing an international audience, well, depends what your strategy is, obviously, how much you want to market it, through which channels. I also think it has to do with, obviously, the national strategy for tourism and marketing in Bulgaria in general as a nice travel destination. It has to do with the agents, with the management agencies of artists, to put Bulgaria, Sofia, the seaside, whichever, like on the map of all these artists that tour. So I think it's like a few things that could come together to work for us. You want to add something, I think?
I always want to add something, I guess.
Yeah, she always wants to add something, so she gets 10 seconds.
Those are the thanks to George for the question, because I did actually want to ask you this, guys, and thank you for mentioning the balance between the foreign and the local audience. And I guess these are like the questions in front of all of us. I'm going to be so happy if we sit down and discuss it in the months to come. But really, how do we brand Bulgaria as a festival destination? Because what Benji says, I really do believe that Bulgaria is like this hidden gem. It's not on the map of touring artists, of their managers, of just anyone, of like festival goers. And how do we do this? Because maybe like with a combined effort or,
This largely depends on scale, on the size. I don't think that touring artists will be ready to sacrifice or to diminish their fees just because our market cannot offer to pay those fees. I think for now, It is already happening. The Bulgaria is on the map. We are not working to be seen. We are already seen. And I think these are still the young years of, how to say, purity, real vibes, like in Georgia, for example, where things are done out of idealistic reasons more than financial. And like once we come to the point where touring artists will be able to play here, that means we'll be on the next level. But then this the intimate and childlike experiences will be gone. So, yes.
We have 15 minutes.
15?
You mentioned scale, and my question is, do you have limits towards your scale of the festival and your audience?
Towards me? Maybe someone else wants to.
To everyone.
Okay.
All right. Nice to answer my teammate. That's an internal discussion possibly, but my standing would be the following. I would not want to see the festival expand over a certain amount of people. I do not know what it is, but I think this is what keeps the festival nice and really gives it like a feeling and gives it the feeling of like a living organism and an entity in a way, like as something that is special, that retains its character. Like you see all the great big festivals like Primavera in Barcelona, or I don't know, whichever one you think of, they are amazing. They're probably a heck of a project to deal with thousands of people behind, that probably started with the love for music, but maybe some of them started hating their jobs now because they became jobs. So I would really try to keep it in a way, like to a small, well, medium extent maybe, as much as it supports like really the vision and the heart and the soul of the festival.
I've been talking with some people who visit the festival and just having a discussion about expanding it, having bigger names, bigger stages, more days, and many of them said that if it goes in this direction, it becomes too commercial and too big, they will stop coming to it. So it's a living organism, as Faris said, and it's a thin border to lose this magic of the festival and the experience if you expand. It's a business at the end for many of us, but I think that there should be borders and to really just follow your idea from the first place and don't go overboard with it, I think.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody said. I think the capacity of the festival is a very special formula. And I don't know if anybody has the magic answer, what is that number? But for me, I think it's under 10,000 people. Once it starts getting above 10,000, you lose the intimacy. Intimacy is one of our pillars. So
I think we work with different scales.
Yeah, possibly. But yes.
Do you think the mountain can host 9,900?
Well, no, we've decided that 5,000 is our number, and we will never get bigger than 5,000. So we have another 10 years to reach 5,000. We're currently on 3,000, and yeah, we don't want to jump to that number. We want to grow it slowly and organically. So just take our time.
But is there a business case in that to not growing?
A business case is in, are we doing it for the money kind of thing? I mean, yes, we're in debt and we owe money, and the only way the festival is going to survive is if we pay that money back. And also, you know, there is this formula on numbers, and I think the business case for festivals is you do need to have thousands of people to make to even break even or make money from it. I think if it's less, it's very hard. But I mean, you know, free rotation in the UK festival, right? It's always 500 people, never been bigger than 500 people. It's a very kind of audiophile kind of place where it's invite only, but somehow they've managed to survive for 10 plus years. So I think there is an argument to be had of numbers versus, keeping it intimate. But for sure, intimacy is one of Meadows' pillars, and it's something that we realize makes Meadows special, and it's something that we want to protect. And
To me, Wake Up Stran-Jah has reached its optimum size, which is 1,200-300 people. If you ask the other driving force behind the festival, who is not present right now, there is room for growth. But yeah, definitely I would agree with all of you that it's like once you go over the border, you're not you anymore. So you become something else. But if we have, I want to attach another point, is that, okay, let's say you attract those more, like this bigger number of people. You should be able to accommodate those people. So first, don't just aim at selling more tickets out of greediness. You have to be confident in yourself and to have enough experience and to have the right personnel to be able to, host this bigger number. And I guess once I'm confident enough from the production side, then maybe I would agree there is room for growth.
Okay.
Right, so I'd like to ask something that I didn't really hear anything about throughout this panel so far. It's rather an overlooked topic, and it's about the safety of the partygoers. It's increasingly becoming an issue, and especially with the security being available in Bulgaria, whether it's for festivals or for parties. This is something, well, as much as we would like to rely on good faith of the people who go there, of the staff, this is something that is a responsibility from the organizers. And yeah, of course, events like Meadows in the Mountains, quite big, so you definitely do need to focus on this particular aspect. How do you guys, not really sure how to phrase this, what do you find as the biggest challenge being able to provide this sort of security for the people who go to these parties and festivals? What do you find is the biggest challenge? What do you struggle with the most? Having to work with local security companies and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and thank you for raising it. And yeah, it's something that has become very apparent for Meadows this year. We had our first sexual assault case at the festival this year, which was very difficult for us as organisers to deal with. But I think it's what Laylla said, it's surrounding yourself with professionals that do this every day, that are experienced and that are well educated and that care. So for us, in the beginning, our on-site medic was the local doctor from Smolyan, who was drunk the whole time. So we realized we couldn't rely upon the local medical community, so we started bringing a very, very good team from the UK that are professionals, and they do this at festivals around the world. They go to war zones, they go here, they go there. They're used to dealing with difficult scenarios. So we're now really happy with our medical team, and now it's the journey of welfare and awareness team, which is very new to us. We've never had welfare or awareness team at the festival before. And yeah, we're now dealing with a charity in the UK. Her name is Anna, and she deals with pushing legalization for sexual assault and rape cases. So we're bringing her on board as a consultant. And yeah, we're educating ourselves, and we put our hands up when we're in the wrong, and we're learning from it. And I think that's the only way to go, is to address the situations when they arise, surround yourself with professionals, and to learn and to grow and to be motivated to change.
For my perspective, I can say for us it was very hard to find a nice security company, local one, that is actually in their heads of what they're doing, and they're not like typical Bulgarians who, and being harsh to the people who are at the festival, because you know, sometimes people get wasted on different substances, on water, yeah. So they should be very aware how to act in these specific situations, not to cause a drama, a problem, or to kill the vibe of the festival. And we've been trying different companies each year, and it's really hard, I'm not gonna lie. We're still searching for for the best one. But also we are sending in our newsletter a big list of things to prepare the people who are going to come to the festival. What is our philosophy of the festival? That you need to be kind to each other, to share nothing but good vibes, love, to be aware and to be prepared for everything that can happen. And somehow we are like I don't know, we are expecting from people also to behave, and we have so far, like, thank God.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd say that thankfully we also haven't had an issue with that. Unfortunately, in Bulgaria, this touches really upon the security industry, which, as we know, is heavily flawed from, you know, communist, post-communist times. The fact that it's basically the nurture ground for mafia hustlers and enablers and whatever. I mean, this doesn't mean that there are not people that can do their job, like we've seen them, but generally you either have the, you know, the hustlers, or you have the old people that fall asleep. So, sorry, I think that's the truth. So it effectively goes again to creating mechanisms that refer to the maturity of the security industry and to the maturity and audience of the event and festival industry, because you would not be able to deal with such issues with security as it is alone now, but you would be employing volunteers that would be, you know, providing awareness, providing quick care, basically trying to ingrain this into the culture of your community and possibly the whole dance community in Bulgaria, like basically for people to care for each other, because that is an issue and it should not be overlooked. This is my view on it. Perhaps the thing that we've been heavily discussing, well, not heavily, but touching upon in all of the panels, like creating an association, holding talks like that, like more events like that, possibly specialized in, let's say, different topics. I think this is super important. This would bring the maturity to a higher level, bring more awareness to people on different topics, and maybe we can work for a better future of this industry in Bulgaria.
Do we have some more questions? So thank you very much for being with us, and thank you guys for your presence here. Let's hope that next year we have more people that go to 6+ festivals. Yes. Thank you.
Fonoteka Електрика.